Did Ryan Reynolds really abandon Blake Lively at her own red carpet premiere to save his career? When a glittering Hollywood couple suddenly starts moving in opposite directions, people ask questions. Insiders are whispering that behind those glamorous photo shoots and talk show laughs, Blake's world has taken a dark turn. Lawsuits, rumored breakups, and a swirling scandal with Justin Baldoni have pushed her to a breaking point. And Ryan? He might just be jumping ship before it all comes crashing down. But how did these two, once a perfect storybook couple, end up facing rumors of career sabotage and desperate damage control?
Did Ryan Reynolds ditch Blake Lively at the premiere of Another Simple Favor to save his own career?
They once looked untouchable. From the outside, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds seemed like the envy of Hollywood, effortlessly charming, always laughing, and proud parents who balanced red carpets with real life. Their bond looked solid, the kind of relationship fans love to swoon over. In interviews, Blake praised Ryan's humor and gentle spirit. He praised her drive and creativity. Even their social media banter turned into headlines because people adored their goofy style of calling each other out in affectionate ways. For a while, it seemed like they couldn't miss. If you saw one, you saw the other, smiling and holding hands, taking over every event they attended. But as every big Hollywood story proves, appearances can be deceiving. There were rumors that Blake had become increasingly controlling about projects, rewriting scripts behind the scenes and making demands that set certain directors on edge. Still, the public saw only the sparkling exterior. It would take a colossal controversy to unveil the cracks beneath the surface, and that controversy was just around the corner.
Strangers describe me as
extremely disloyal.
The so-called perfect couple image took its biggest blow at the Another Simple Favor premiere. Fans and paparazzi swarmed the red carpet, only to find Blake front and center without Ryan by her side. She posed alone, trying to channel confidence, but her forced smile sparked 1,000 questions. Where was Ryan? He wasn't at a shoot. He wasn't in the middle of a press tour. People scoured his social media, which was as cheeky as ever, but offered no explanation for his absence. And if it was a scheduling conflict, why did it feel so pointed, almost like he intentionally pulled away?
Ryan and Blake both now realize if their careers are to survive, they cannot be involved in the same projects.
The media pounced on the moment. Speculations ran wild. Was this a deliberate PR tactic meant to keep each star's brand safely separated, especially now that Blake was embroiled in a rumored lawsuit fiasco? Or was the relationship hitting serious trouble, with Ryan making a strategic exit while he still could?
Are spilling on the real reason why Ryan Reynolds left Blake Lively alone on the red carpet.
For Blake, this was supposed to be a triumphant, glamorous evening. Instead, all anyone noticed was Ryan's absence. Insiders started talking about private tensions that had only grown sharper after a recent Saturday Night Live appearance that went very, very wrong. Before the Another Simple Favor premiere, Blake and Ryan tried their hand at public unity on the SNL stage. On paper, it was a genius move. They'd be together in front of a live audience, hitting comedic beats alongside a beloved cast. What could go wrong? Plenty, it turns out. From the moment they appeared, viewers claimed the energy felt off. The jokes didn't land. The crowd reaction was uneven, some cheers, some awkward silences, and even a smattering of boos.
How's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Rumors flew that Blake had forced Ryan to appear, hoping to repaint herself as America's sweetheart and reduce the heat from a rumored lawsuit she'd filed against Justin Baldoni. But the audience wasn't buying the power couple stands strong narrative. Suddenly, fans seemed more skeptical than starstruck. Behind the scenes, it said that Blake hoped Ryan would deliver a stirring show of support, maybe a line or two defending her from swirling rumors. Instead, he stayed mostly quiet or resorted to mild, self-deprecating humor, hardly the gallant knight she allegedly expected him to be. After the show, sources claimed Blake was livid, feeling Ryan had failed to shield her when she needed it most. But Ryan, insiders say, was quietly realizing he couldn't save anyone if the walls came crashing down, and that it might be best to protect his own brand first.
They did this publicity stunt last night where they went on SNL and Ryan Reynolds made this silly joke, you know?
SNL was supposed to be a triumphant display of solidarity. Instead, it became a glaring sign that the tide was turning against them. And that wasn't even the worst of it. Hidden away from the cameras, another scandal was brewing. A shocking legal battle involving none other than Justin Baldoni. At first, few understood how Justin Baldoni fit into Blake's Hollywood orbit. Known for his directorial and on-screen work, Baldoni has a reputation for being professional, driven, and well-respected among peers. But rumors surfaced claiming that Blake had filed a massive lawsuit against him, alleging misconduct on set. It was a bombshell that threatened to upend both of their careers. Insiders, however, spun a very different story. They say it was Blake who overstepped boundaries and orchestrated a behind-the-scenes narrative. She supposedly wanted script rewrites to intensify romantic scenes, particularly with Justin. Some coworkers whispered that she seemed infatuated with him, pushing for steamier content and flirting in ways that made others uncomfortable. When Baldoni apparently rebuffed her, everything flipped. Suddenly, according to his camp, Blake alleged that Justin was the one who crossed lines.
Time again, she accuses him of doing something, which then when you hear the full context is an absolute nothing.
When the lawsuit became public, many expected Baldoni to fold under pressure after all. Blake Lively was a Hollywood darling, but instead, he fired back with a $400 million countersuit, claiming defamation and the deliberate smearing of his reputation. The countersuit sent shockwaves through the industry. Media outlets went wild, dissecting every possible angle. Was Blake seeking revenge for being rejected? Did Ryan even know the full extent of her behavior? And would big studios stand by Blake, or quietly shift allegiance to a man they believed had been falsely accused? Over time, it became clear that Justin wasn't backing down, and that might have put Ryan in an even more precarious position.
She wants us to believe this is actionable harassment, what we just witnessed there.
Suddenly, new details flooded tabloids about an alleged voicemail loan where Baldoni supposedly apologized, taking responsibility for making Blake uncomfortable. It seemed like a smoking gun that could validate every claim she'd made. Only tech experts quickly noticed inconsistencies. The voicemail's metadata didn't line up. Audio engineers flagged the pace and tone as mismatched, suggesting the message might have been digitally manipulated. Was this an AI-generated clip pieced together from various conversations? If so, that bordered on evidence tampering.
She alleges that she's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
And tampering is a serious matter, especially in a defamation case where hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. Reports claim Ryan was blindsided by the new developments. If he had trusted Blake's version of events, he was apparently forced to question everything. Defending his wife suddenly looked riskier than ever, especially if it turned out some evidence was fabricated. Hollywood watchers said he became torn between loyalty to Blake and preserving his own carefully constructed image.
She does not want to have a family with no income, and she knows that Ryan's career has so far survived the fallout.
If he stood too close to a scandal that smelled of fraud, he risked losing brand deals and the goodwill that fueled his massive success. Meanwhile, Baldoni's star only rose. Public sympathy swung in his favor. Industry players believed that if he had real proof Blake manipulated recordings, that would shift the narrative completely. Insiders started calling him the true victim in a twisted scenario. Blake Lively, once the poised A-lister, now looked like the villain in her own story, and Ryan might have been just another casualty.
She seems like a bully. She was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat.
You'd think the fiasco couldn't get any uglier. But then came rumors of an alleged ambush meeting where Blake, hoping to regain control, invited Justin Baldoni to her penthouse under the guise of script discussions. Waiting for him were Ryan Reynolds and none other than Taylor Swift. The plan, according to whispers, was to corner Baldoni with star power and pressure him to accept her terms. The ploy reportedly imploded in spectacular fashion. Baldoni by now was done playing the scapegoat. Ryan supposedly realized he'd been unwittingly enlisted in a scheme to strong-arm Justin, and that might have been the last straw. Instead of rescuing Blake's plan, Ryan and Taylor both seemed to withdraw. Not long after, observers noticed Taylor Swift was keeping her distance. No more group outings or social media posts with Blake. No more adorable photos of their kids hanging out. Silence. Hollywood drew its conclusions fast. If Taylor Swift, famously selective about PR entanglements, was quietly stepping away, it signaled that Blake's downfall wasn't just rumor but a glaring reality. Endorsement deals began to vanish. Major brands no longer saw her as the go-to red carpet darling. Directors, faced with potential script meddling and scandal, allegedly began passing her over.
That I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design.
The America's sweetheart facade cracked wide open. Ryan, on the other hand, still had businesses to protect. A successful liquor brand, sports team investments, and of course, the lucrative Deadpool franchise. He'd built a reputation on likability, comedic wit, and unproblematic candor. The more Blake's controversies piled up, the more it seemed he might be stepping aside to safeguard that reputation before it got irreversibly tarnished. So did Ryan Reynolds really ditch Blake Lively to save himself? Or was his absence at that premiere just one of those Hollywood scheduling coincidences? Only time and perhaps a few high-powered legal teams will reveal the whole truth. But one thing is crystal clear. Blake has stumbled into a web of lawsuits and PR disasters that have left her career in chaos.
Get your ego in check. All you actors, get your egos in check. And yeah, I'm going to call out actors who have way too big of an ego.
The more she struggles to control the narrative, the deeper she seems to sink. Ryan's image, by contrast, still shines. He's pressing forward with personal ventures, carefully curating the laid-back, humorous persona fans can't get enough of.
I can't fault him for not showing up. The fact that he's responding is interesting. It shows they're paying attention and they're unnerved.
If he's learned anything, it's that tying yourself too closely to someone at the center of a scandal can scorch your reputation and bottom line. And maybe that's why he stood nowhere near her at that another simple favor premiere. Better to slip away quietly than go down with the ship. Could their marriage survive the whirlwind? Possibly. In Hollywood, alliances fracture and reform in a heartbeat. But the harsh truth is that power couples only remain powerful as long as both parties share a stable, favorable image. Once one half gets dragged into controversy, it's survival of the fittest. And in the cutthroat realm of fame and fortune, sometimes the only way to make it out is to walk that red carpet by yourself and never look back.